identity it's an easy word to just bandy about, but it means so much. It's loaded in so many ways by the outside world as well as by what's going on in each individual. So for those reasons, I think it's really, really important for people to feel at ease discussing it. Welcome to you all. My name's Razia Iqbal. I want to start by asking about your experiences of being in this school. Ruxana, as a governor of the school, what sort of sense do you have about the texture of the school and how pupils interact?
The school very recently, last month, had an Ofsted inspection. When they came in and spoke to the pupils and the staff, they were very impressed how inclusive it was and how the different cultures worked together. I mean, there was a respect for one another.
Rashad, what would you want to say about the fact that that it's a really strong school in terms of respecting other people?
Well, because it is multicultural, and you have there's people that can relate to you. So you have blacks, Asians, you have white, you have every culture.
I think it's quite a natural thing for us to just bond together. I mean, if we didn't do that, then I don't think the school we'd feel that we belong in the school. I just think, it just comes naturally, and we can feel free to do it when we want to.
The school has a really positive ethos on kind of religious, cultural diversity. The cultures, religions, they all mix incredibly well in the school.
My two best friends, their cultures are very actually different from mine. The one who's Jamaican, she's a Christian, and the other one who's Ghanaian, she's also Christian, but she's African Christian. So when she goes to church, she does all the standing up and singing and all that, and the liveliness, whereas the one from Jamaica, they do a proper Jamaican kind of ceremonial thing.
We have a number of different cultural events or celebrations during the academic calendar. We have an Eid celebration, an evening event, and we had religious leaders from different religions coming and talking about kind of their festivals and how their religion actually links and is very similar to Islam.
So let's broaden it out a little bit and talk about what life is like for you in the community generally outside the school. Is this a neighbourhood that you enjoy living in?
Yeah, I think it's actually quite a good neighbourhood. It's the same as a school in the community. Everyone's multicultural. You're not likely to see people racist hatred and that kind of stuff.
I still think the community is very cohesive and multicultural. It's just you tend to get a lot more people bonding with people from the same culture, whereas in school it's just a bit more integrated and mixed. Two of my very close friends are Muslim and another one of my close friends is Christian. There has been occasions when, because of different religions or different cultures, we haven't been able to meet up, or we don't do as many things because they have other things to do with their religion.
I do sometimes find as a resident in Leytonstone that whilst there's no tension when you walk down the street and see people who might look different than you or they might speak a different language, that those people don't, while they may peacefully sort of coexist, they don't interact as much as they might here in the school.
I mean, do you all have friends from very different backgrounds?
I've got a mixture of friends. I don't mind. I'll hang out with all of them.
Most friends that I that say come around my house or I go out with are the same race as me. In school, it's a different story from outside.
Has anyone experienced racism, discrimination, anything like that?
Yeah, I've experienced some racism from those that you expect more from. I'm talking about policemen just harassing me. I don't even know if it's the fact of my skin colour or the way I dress.
Yeah, it has happened because we was in a group and everything, and then these policemen came up and started stopping searching us, and we was thinking, well, okay, we weren't doing anything. All we was doing was just jamming. So I feel that the police needs to be less stereotypical.
Has it ever happened when it hasn't been somebody who's in a position of power, just your peers, people the same age as you or slightly older than you?
No, it's never been like that, because nowadays it's just that people don't care about, you know, what's outside. It's more about what's within. It's more about your personality.
The media is same as the police, because the media, they're stereotypical of young people, like teenagers. They think that every young person or teenager carries a knife, gun, or is an ASBO or something. Whereas some are good who help the community instead of damaging the community and making a bad name for it or something.
Hamza, you want to say something?
I think the police do that because they're trying to protect our community, because there's been a lot of knife and crime around London, and that's why they're trying to protect our community.
Rashad?
I don't think police can stop gun and knife crime. I think that actual people change themselves first, yeah.
There was one time where a policeman whispered to me, "You're gonna end up like all other black people. Dead, shot, stabbed." That angered me. It angered me. I was filled with rage. There's another time where a policeman almost ran over me, stopped right in front of my foot, got out of the car and started searching me and started harassing me. A group of young black men, more than 6, 7, that takes the cake. They'll go straight to you.
I find that when people are in groups, that's when you're more likely to get approached. So like nowadays, if I need to do something, sometimes I just do it myself and go myself, because then you don't really get searched.
Aslan, you were talking about the media's perception of young people. Do you have a sense, not you necessarily, but anybody, do you have a sense of what you think about the media's perception of Islam generally in the country? Ramla?
I think the media actually portrays Islam in a bad way. They portray only the terrorists, and basically the meaning of Islam is peace. It's a religion of peace, and obviously people like terrorists who blow themselves up and blow other people up, it goes against everything in Islam.
I think the media all around just aim to twist stories, and with the sort of biased attitude.
Yes, whenever we think of Islam, we think of terrorism. And I think it's important that the kids, the students, have an overview of the good things about Islam, because otherwise what happens is that then the Muslims feel isolated. They feel, or they feel like sometimes I may be sitting on the train and I may feel the woman sitting next to me, is she comfortable, is she uncomfortable? Even though I want her to be comfortable, but I feel, is it something that they see me as something very different to them?
My son, he after 9/11 and 7/7, he just had a bag and went on the tube. He said that somebody stood up who was sitting next to him and walked away, or was looking at him suspiciously, and he came home and he was quite concerned, and he said, why would somebody do that? And we talked it through, and I think it's to do with prejudice and stereotype. And then we talked about choices that people make. And he makes a choice of wearing a beard, for example. And sometimes in the house he wears the long robe because he's got them from Saudi Arabia and it's comfortable to wear. And he was about to go out of the house to the mosque wearing it. And I said, Usman, just think about the image that portrays. And I think it'd be better if you changed your clothes and went. And so there was a discussion around it because people have choices. I think it's really important for the Muslim community to open up their doors to the rest of the community, otherwise it can be seen as very insular. So one example is in Waltham Forest, there's an Islam Awareness Week in the winter, and so the mosque opens the doors and invites visitors from lots of different faiths to come in.
I'd like to ask all of you to think about this question. Do you see yourself as British?
Nah, I don't see myself as British, because the way I was brought up to remember where I'm from, remember where I'm coming from, Ghana, Africa. I see myself as part British, obviously, but I do, like, if someone asks me where you're from, I'm not gonna say England.
The thing that surprised me the most in this morning's discussion was the fact that a lot of the people that were born in England and have lived here for a lot of their lives when asked where they come from, take more pride in the place they originally come from. That made me feel quite sad because it feels like they're coming here and not feeling accepted, which is obviously not what people want. I would like a community where everyone feels accepted and everyone feels welcomed and they belong.
I'm British, but I'm not English, I'm British, yeah. But yeah, my family's Jamaican, so I've been growing up on like a Jamaican kind of lifestyle, like food, yeah, the music. Yeah, so I grew up like that, and so like it's with me. That sticks with me.
The thing is, yeah, like a majority of people nowadays, yeah, they all, like, everyone tends to have a British passport. So like to differentiate yourself, you tend to be more, like you tend to have a more sense of pride of where you come from, because that basically differentiates you.
Do you see yourself as British?
No.
How would you define yourself if you had to?
I'm African.
In what way does being African affect how you feel about living in Britain?
It doesn't really, because like I'm still living in Britain, except for the only thing is different. I don't live like an English person, I live like an African person, so that's the only different thing, the culture basically.
Okay guys, thank you all very much for talking to me, talking to each other. It's been really, really interesting, and it feels like a real privilege to be in the presence of people who've got such a lot of interesting things to say. So thank you all very much.